Today is sunny and dry, so it is time for DIY. We're going to be working on the outdoor building today. So this is the outdoor building that came with the house, and it's a bit battered. There's been a bit of, well, not damp, but it didn't help that the previous tenant of this house grew marijuana in here. So there was water irrigation, fans going off, heating, and it's done a number on all the walls. But it's been an okay place to store stuff. Now this is going to be the utility room. As you can see, I've got a few other bits, washing machines and stuff like that in here. This room might look a bit messier from the walls, but as from a point of view of things lying on the floor, it's not too bad. Now the other day, I built these units because things was getting thrown on the floor and it was bugging me. And since I built them, I was like, that's quite nice. They was cheap enough to build, so I need some for my workshop. Now, my big workshop, the one that my final workshop, should I say, is actually going to be a brand new building that I'm going to build on the side of these buildings. But my current workshop is behind this door. I shall show it you in a minute. It's horrible. So to do the new workshop, it's going to cost me at least £1,000 or more. So I need to save up, I need to do plans, I need to potentially get planning permission. There's a lot of stuff to go with it. But anyway, every time I come to do a job in the house, I come to try and get a tool out of here. And it's becoming harder and harder to work in, and it don't help that I've left it in a mess. So I want to pay about £100 and just renovate this room and get it to a point where it's easier to work in. So let's just show you what's behind this door. There we go. Right, so yes, as soon as you get in here, this is the workshop that I am working in. And it is an absolute sty. It's horrible. Right, let me try and get in. We've got wood down here, wood everywhere, bikes on the ceiling. Right, let's get in. So yes, I was going to use this as a proper workshop, and I will do for a year or so, but I really want to build a building outside. But there's no point just going, oh, I'm going to build a workshop, so there's no point making a workshop in here. Because one, it will be easier to have somewhere to work, to build that extra building. But on top of it, I can't keep walking in. Look, every time I nearly went again, every time I walk in, there's just shit on the floor. And there's no, well, there is place to store stuff, but it's just more and more crap. So what I want to do really for £100, might be a bit more, might be a bit less, is one, start using up some of this actual wood that I've got lying around. And two, just get this as pure shelving on the back so we can start putting stuff away. And then the next phase is to actually get some proper area to store wood on here, get some better shelving, potentially put in a table so I can actually work from, put a couple of the actual like drill presses and stuff like that on. And then after that, build a area to store the larger pieces of wood. So I probably do this over several videos. We'll see how we go. But the first thing I need to do is get this crap out of here, make a space on this back, and actually start throwing some shelves up in the background. So the thing is, I've been down to the local place where I get my wood nice and cheap, and I've tried to put together some wood that will just about do the job. I don't want to spend too much because it's only going to be temporary for about a year or so, and at the same time I'm going to make the shelves out of this. Not super strong stuff, but I'm going to work out what half a board is, so we can get perhaps 2 shelves a sheet. That's going to be how far it comes out. So normally I'd sit and I'd plan typically all the sizes and everything on the computer if I'm actually going to do a project. This is going to be any and every shape possible. I just want to utilise the wood we've got, so I have to spend next to nothing. So far I spent £26 on 24 strips of wood, which are here. So far we're about 26 quid into our £100 budget, and that's what we're going to make all the shelves out of. Right, so I'm going to swap my jeans for something I don't mind ripping, and we're going to try and get some of this out of here so we've got an area to actually work. So we're getting there. We've cleared a bit of the area we're at, and also I found some tools that was missing. That's a good. But we're going to take this off because it's going to get in the way of the shelves. This is the wood that I've got. It's 2.4 meters, which means it goes from one edge and then just stop shy of hitting the other wall, which is not a problem because that means the units will stop, leave a little tiny area for them to be able to shove things like tools like that I really don't need, spades and whatnot. They can all be shoved down the side. That took a lot longer than I expected, so we've cleaned the back wall now. We can at least actually get something up on here. Everything else has just been either moved to there, or some of the tools have been taken in the house, so I don't actually fall on them. But as long as I've got enough room to actually get these in, that's fine. Then I can start putting stuff on here. Once that's on here, then we can start actually looking at doing the next wall. But as I said, these walls, they're okay. There's a bit of wiggle in them. Down there, it's blown a little bit, but I'm not bothered. I'm not putting time and effort into this room when I know I'm going to end up gutting it in a year or so and actually turning this into a shed as such. So for just normal crap like spades and I don't know, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but there is so many things that don't actually, aren't wood related or work related, that will actually sit in here. Like bikes, for instance. Yes, that's another thing that needs to actually go in here. So this will eventually become the shed. When it is, I'll rip all this out, replaster it, make it all nice. But until then, I just want some storage. Right, so now I took all the wood out that I've got, which is a million different sizes, and I'm trying to work out the depth of a shelf and the easiest way to not lose lots of bits of wood, because if that's 80 centimeters, then I could chop it in half, get 2 shelves out of it at 40. So I'm just trying to work out which is the right size for all of them. Right, nah, you'll have to bear with me, washing machine's on. But I think that 40 centimeters I've just said is about right. Looking at the actual, like, what you normally get your tools in, it's about 40 centimeters. And everything that I've actually looked at will fit within the 40 centimeters. I know once I do it, I'm gonna be like, oh, I should have done it 50, but most things don't need a 50 shelf here up. What we got? Another item. How big are you? See, just a little bit bigger than 40, which is not a problem because the shelves will not go all the way to the back of the wall. This is gonna be there, and then the shelves are gonna attach to it. So there's actually gonna be a 2 centimeter gap behind it. So things like that will fit on it perfectly. You helping, Jess?
Yes.
Good. So I think it's time to make frame for the shelves, do one up, bring it in and see if it looks right. Right, so I've got the frame in, and that's how big it will be at 40 centimeters, which I think is perfect. Get buckets in, toolboxes in, they will all fit on. So I think that's the one I'm going to go with. So I think I'm happy with it. Now I need to make several more. I don't know how many I'm going to go with, so I'm just going to start adding them in and then wait until I run out of wood. So now I was just seeing how straight these walls actually are, and I know they was going to be off. It's an old building, but they're fucking well off. This piece of wood is straight, and as you can see there's a big gap, and the gap only gets smaller and smaller until it doesn't exist. That's how far the wall is on the piss. I've decided we're gonna go on the piss. I think that's the best way to do it, because if I did that straight, there'll be a big gap at the bottom, and then on this side there'll be a big gap at the top, which would then make your brain think the whole thing is leaning like that, which is not. So I'm gonna go with it. It's not gonna be a problem, it's all gonna be nice and secure anyway, so it doesn't matter if it's slightly leaning to the side, so it'll look better, I think. But either way, we're going to get the first one in, middle one and the back one, and then we can start adding in the shelves, and I'll put the ones on the front. Right, so we've got the 3 back panels on, and I've now screwed this into place so it is nice and secure. And also this is perfect. I was worried it might not be able to take the weight. It can take my weight. Nothing heavier than me is ever going to go on this. And also I've got a couple of these left from the loft. I've just got a stack of these. Why I saved them, I don't know. So instead of binning them, I'm just sliding them underneath, which is giving this a bit more support as well. Is there any need to? No, but it just means I ain't got to get rid of them. Hide them under there, never see them again. Good idea. Now you just do it. Good girl. That nail will be in no time. Right, so we've got the second shelf ready to go up. For some reason I was going to do the top one, just so if I can get that straight, put the actual legs on the front of it and it will be all okay and I can call it quits for a day. But Joe's gone and took Jess, so both my helpers have gone, and I'm going to struggle getting that up, holding it in place and drilling it. So what I'm going to do is just try and put lots of wood underneath this, get it to the correct height, put it in, and hope then the legs will start to actually stand up straight and look pretty decent. So let's try and get the second shelf in without lots of swearing. We'll see. But sadly, daylight is burning. Look there. I look good. I look radiant with all that light. But it is actually getting quite dull in this room. The camera's doing a good job of actually lying to you. And I have no lights. So I'm trying to get as much done, because as soon as it gets dark, I am in the pitch black in this place. Right, couple of paint buckets and some random wood chucked underneath it, and we're at the right height. So I've done that with a good gap, so I can put paint buckets and crap underneath there, and obviously that's padded out so it can actually take some good weight. The rest of them are just going to be for random tools and bits and bobs, and then I've measured the top to be perfectly, to just get the toolboxes and stuff like that, because I tend not to use them. Once I've purchased a tool, I don't really use the box, but I do want to keep them, so that's going to be the box shelf. So we're going to try and chuck this in, and we might be able to squeeze in a third shelf before the sun goes away. So it got too dark yesterday and I had to give up, and the weather's changed today. We've got rain coming at 4, so I'm trying to get as much done as I can, because I've got to be doing it outside because we've got no room in there at the moment, and also it's freezing. But as you can see, I had to quickly put all the stuff back last night so it didn't get rained on, which means this place is as trash as it was. I need order, and soon. So we're going to try and bang out the next 2 of them, chop the tops off to make it all look nice and neat, then start working about what we're going to do on this side. Right, I nearly just cocked up, but I think it's worked out for the better. What I did is I made these, which is the perfect height from one shelf to another. And the point was, I could put them underneath, rest the shelf on it, use the clamps on the front, and then I could actually drill them in place without having to shout for Joe to come in here. And it's been working fine. But these are set at a particular height, and for some reason there's another 2 identical, smaller, but both of them are the same height, which made me assume I've made them for the purpose to space these out. So I've just come to put this shelf in, which is actually lower than it should be, and I think I like it. I've just measured if I did it all at this height, and it means I could squeeze one more shelf in. And as I said, the top of it was designed for these toolboxes, but they fit absolutely snug in there. I've got plenty of room at the bottom for the heavy stuff, so I think I'm going to try and squeeze in 2 more. And with that extra shelf, I can put crap like that. I've got just random brains gone to shit. I've got rolls of everything. I've got roofing felt, just that black stuff. There's some more bits and bobs around there, rolls of that. There is a proper roll of it somewhere. Again, everything's hidden, so I should be able to put the crap on the top shelf. So yeah, we're going to try and squeeze in an extra shelf, and I do think I've got enough material. As for these wood, see, I'm really good on this channel. I'm technical. I know all the correct words. I know everything there is to do with wood. But yes, I buy more than I need. Just because, one, if I cock up, I've got spare, and mainly because then I get to keep piling it on. But the only trouble is, I've piled this up here, and not at one point have I gone, I'm going to take a piece of wood off there today and build something, because I don't dare take anything off that. If I move one thing, the whole lot will collapse. So this is another reason why I want to get organised, so I can actually start using all these spare pieces of wood to make something. And also, Joe said, I think Jess needs a new bed. I'm like, I'll make it. So I want to get the workshop ready so I can actually make my first piece of furniture. Things just keep getting better and better with the sizers. I've just run in the house and made sure most things can fit in a shelf of that size. And I forgot about these blue buckets. I was like, ooh, I've got 4 of them. Can they fit? They fit perfectly. And I've just measured them, there's 60 centimetres across. So times that by 4, what do we got? 240. How big's this shelf? 240. Everything is fitting. It's turning out lovely. Right, here comes the hard bit. I've got to put the last shelf in, but because there's not much room now, I've kind of got to thread it in that way, slide it in there and put it down, while also standing on top of something to reach up there. So there's a chance there's going to be swearing. So, oh, and there's crap all over the floor, as always. Don't know that these are friggin' heavy. Right, we need to somehow thread it. Oh, this thing's in the way, always in the way. What am I on now? Oh, fucking. Yeah? Dinner? Yeah, I'll be 2 minutes. Trust dinner to be ready now. Oh yes. Lost a piece of wood, but that's all good. Right, I've just found the next problem. The roof isn't straight. So all these shelves are, this is a bit twisted at the moment because it's only pinned in, I haven't drilled it in. But anyhow, that's that tall, and on this side it's actually 4 centimeters taller. So what I've done is I've jammed that piece of wood in there, which is 2 centimeters, just to help it naturally look a bit more correct, which it don't look too bad at the moment. So what I'm going to do is drill it all in there, get that one piece of wood at the front to make it all nice and secure, and start filling the shelves. And that's done. I've lobbed the tops of the legs off, whatever you want to call them. I've not done that one. I can't get to it. I keep banging my wrist on this. I'm going to wait until we actually remove all this and rebuild this side. But it is sturdy as anything. It's going nowhere. Cost 26 quid. Now all this, hopefully, can live on there. Or some of it anyway. And that's where we're going to leave it here. I've just only got around to editing this. The footage you just saw is about 2 months old, so the shed looks completely different now. It's looking like a workshop, but I never filmed an ending. I just carried on and noticed that this video is already 17 minutes, and if I carried on putting the other stuff on the end, it will actually be like 2 hours long. So we're going to call this one a day, and then I'm going to start editing the next part of the journey of building it. So I hope you've enjoyed it. And also there will be a video of me crafting something in there, which I'm doing at the moment. I'm filming it and editing it, so hopefully this channel should start getting content. At least once a month there'll be videos, but I think you're going to probably get 1 a week for the next month.